Brianna Whitney, she is a true crime correspondent for 3TV and CBS 5 in Arizona, also known as Arizona's Family, and she's also the host of the True Crime Arizona podcast. She's been following every step of the development. So we've got some updates from the Pima County Sheriff's Office today regarding video from neighbors' cameras and DNA from Nancy's home. What can you tell us?
Yeah, so we now know that they have retrieved surveillance video from some of the neighbors. They are actively reviewing that. That is a good step. Hopefully, we'll see some of that surveillance video, whether that's a helpful, clip of video, whether those are still pictures, anything would help at this point. It could show people, it could show possibly a suspect vehicle. So you have to think that they're going to be going through that quickly and hopefully in the next few days turning what they can from that. That is, of course, if they can get the video off those cameras. They had trouble with that with Nancy's front doorbell camera. We also know that they are looking at and analyzing biological evidence inside Nancy Guthrie's home. And you heard it in that package here that just played, but that's going to be your key DNA evidence to analyze because that's from the crime scene and that's direct DNA to who's been inside that home. So we hope to get those results back soon. It's honestly a little bit surprising that we haven't heard more on the DNA front.
But if this person is covered from head to toe and was very careful about not leaving DNA there, is it possible that any of the DNA that is in that home is Nancy or someone else, a family member or something like that, not the suspect?
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely a possibility. You know Nancy's DNA is going to be in there. You assume that family members would also be in there, potentially other friends who had visited Nancy in recent times. You have to hope that whoever her abductor or abductors are would have made a mistake. Perhaps the glove came off at some point. Perhaps their skin brushed something else. Maybe they were sweating while they were doing this and a drop of sweat landed on the ground. Also, were they cut during this operation? Was their blood potentially also in Nancy Guthrie's home? All we know so far is her blood tested positive for being hers and nobody else's on the front porch. But yeah, to your point, could it be just everybody else who would have been in her home normal as usual? Definitely, they're looking for the outlier there.
Oh, it makes me sick to think about all that and the struggle that could have, that we believe took place at least because her blood was on the porch. All right, it feels like we've gotten fewer updates from law enforcement this week. What does that tell you?
It's one of two things. They have gone nearly radio silent the past few days. Either they are dealing with going back to square one, where they are collecting evidence and the DNA just has not come back as any conclusive results that would help in the investigation, or the results have come back, at least partially from what they're testing. They hopefully have a strong lead on that and perhaps are making plans to go forward with certain charges or arrests, and they don't want to tip those people off. So it might be that there's a whole lot happening behind the scenes that we are not privy to, and that's why they aren't saying much right now. But of course, day 20 and no DNA results and no other leads that we are at least aware of, obviously people are very, very concerned. So yeah, should we learn more in the next few days? I certainly would hope so.
And are you hearing anything about how long it's taken to get information, for example, about this backpack that was exclusively sold at Walmart, right? This Ozark Trek, or anything on that genealogical genetic testing after we didn't get a CODIS match?
I mean, on the backpack front, I think it's a great lead. You at least have that identification. But Walmart, I mean, huge company, the potential of this being bought online, that is a hard one to track back down. I mean, you have to go through so many people. Think about the amount of people that go to Walmart just as is in the Tucson area who might be buying those backpacks. I mean, Tucson, beautiful area to hike, to go on adventures. You probably have a lot of people buying those kinds of backpacks in that area. So a great lead nonetheless, but definitely a hard one to pinpoint whose exact backpack that was. On the genealogy front, that is going to be, I think, key, at least in terms of ruling in or out the DNA evidence on the pair of black gloves, because you could try to figure out who that is. Genealogy is pretty great these days, but it isn't an immediate solution. You can get a match in as little as a few hours, according to the forensic genealogist that we have spoken to, but that's pretty rare. Usually it takes a couple weeks, sometimes even a couple months. You have to hope in this case, time is of the essence, and perhaps the greatest hope on the genealogy front is that whoever's DNA is on that pair of black gloves, that their ancestors, their family have uploaded their DNA, their profiles to these databases that people have access to when you're talking about forensic genetic genealogy. The faster they have profiles to match that against and they can work backwards on that family tree, the faster they can figure out who's missing on this family tree. That's whose DNA is on those gloves.
Brianna Whitney, thank you as always.
Thanks, Lindsay.